what is going on, webheads? Roundaway here. And yeah, I did not get invited to the Dokkan beta, man. So you know what? Why don't I make my own fighting game? A fighting game I've been thinking about for a while, and probably one of my most requested, like, fighting games. Talking about a series that I think needs a fighting game spinoff of some kind. It's definitely Danganronpa. Mainly for its, like, unique cast of characters that I think could fit really well in a fighting game. And also on top of the fact that, like, I mean, look at some of the artwork for this game. It looks like fighting game artwork, like, low-key. Like, it's all the characters, like, usually stanced up. Like, a lot of these characters are doing, like, poses and stuff, like they're about to, like, throw hands at somebody. So, I feel like it kind of makes sense. And a lot of these characters have special abilities, you know, they're called ultimates. They're, like, the ultimate in their, like, talent field. We've seen in, like, a lot of spin-offs and stuff like that, that these characters can fight. It's just that in-game, there's not really that much opportunity to, like, show this. Because it's a visual novel, of course, so you can't really, like, show that much. And also, it's in the context of a killing game, so there's not many, like, fight scenes and stuff like that. Although it is a lot more than you would think. I don't know, I feel like Kadaka secretly wants to make his own fighting game of some sort, you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, in this video, I'm basically gonna just be giving, like, my random ideas for what I think a Danganronpa fighting game could be like. I feel like there's no other company that could make this game besides from French Bread, which for those of you who don't know, French Bread is like a company that primarily makes fighting games, usually based off of other IPs, whether they be like fan-made or official. The most popular series being Melty Boy, which is based off Tsukihime, another visual novel, and also Under Night in Birth as well. They also make Dengeki Bunko Fighting Climax, which is another game that is pretty similar to the idea I'm representing right now of a fighting game composed of characters from light novels. I mean, light novels obviously are different from visual novels, but it's basically the same idea, and plus a lot of characters in those games don't even fight. Like, especially in Dengeki Bunko, there's so many characters that, like, have no abilities or anything like that. They're really good at making, like, fighting games based off of, like, visual novels. And I feel like this game would be good if it had, like, a story mode. Having, like, visual novel visuals for story mode would be really good. And also, I feel like, because they usually work on, like, smaller budget fighting games, and while Danganronpa is a big series, I don't think that Art System Works proper, like, the company that publishes their games, would be willing to make, like, a full new Danganronpa game, you know what I mean? Like, they have Marble Dokkan, and they have, like, Guilty Gear they're still working on, you know what I mean? Like, way bigger, more important series. I feel like French Bread would be perfect, and I was thinking of this game having, like, that pixelated, like, 2D art style. Similar to, like, Melty Boy type Lumina. Borderline doesn't even look like pixel art, and it's, like, really smooth and nice looking. As for the gameplay itself, I'm thinking of it being, like, you know, your pretty typical, like, anime fighter, like, having air dashes and, like, high mobility for characters, and the game being, like, grounded, kind of, but with, like, aerial combos and stuff like that. Similar to, like, something like Persona 4 Arena. Like, Persona 4 Arena is probably the biggest game I'm thinking of comparison-wise, like, to match the aesthetic of, like, a Danganronpa fighting game. Because Danganronpa and Persona are pretty similar because, well, they both have that visual novel element to them, but they're both, like, really stylish series. Like, I think they're series that, more so than a lot of other series, have, like, a lot of flair when it comes to, like, menus and, like, presentation and stuff like that. Like, even if you don't like those two types of games, you can appreciate how good they look, like, stylistically. From a gameplay standpoint, I think it's gonna have the traditional, like, anime fighting game, light, medium, heavy, and a special button, meaning, like, the fourth button is used specifically for different character-specific actions, usually relating to their ultimate talent. That's probably what it's gonna be, if I had to guess. And for reference, this is similar to something like BlazBlue or even the more recent Marble Dokkan, where it's just a unique attack for every single character. Also, the game is probably gonna be 1v1. Like, they could do a 2v2 thing, but I don't really see that. I see this game, like I said, being more of a 1v1 type of game. Although its chaotic nature of, like, having it be a team-based game like Marvel vs. Capcom or something, or 2XKO, that might actually kind of fit Danganronpa, you know what I mean, a little bit? Just due to how, like, chaotic the series itself could be. This is also gonna get into the roster a little bit. I'm thinking some characters can just be assist characters. Like, you pick this character along with your main character, and they can help out in some sort of way, like some sort of like buff or like an attack or like a defensive mechanic of some kind. And they've already done this in like Dengeki Bunko. Like, there's like a bunch of assist characters that you pick as well as your main character. For example, let's say you pick Makoto and then you pick like Byakuya as like your little like a partner character, and like he'll give you like more meter gain or something like that. Or for example, you summon like Himiko and she like casts like a few spells on screen before like leaving. Stuff like that I feel like could be cool. Or if you want to, you could do the Persona 4 Arena route and have like multiple different announcers of non-playable characters. While also in that game, the like playable characters are announcers, but there's a lot of characters in that game that aren't playable, that are just there for like, you know, aesthetic, or just, like I said, to announce the match, like give you little tips mid-match. Like, it's just there for aesthetic purposes. It doesn't really add anything. One last thing gameplay-wise, I would love there to be like Instakills / executions. Usually in these anime-style fighting games, like there's a big finishing like super move you can do. Especially Persona 4 Arena is probably my favorite example of like having like an insta-kill mechanic where like you spend all of your meter and like just use it to swag on your opponent, and there's like a big cinematic. So I think Danganronpa having executions is more than fitting. It would be a super missed opportunity if they didn't have that. And this series is literally about like killing people in the most like spectacle way possible with executions. You know what I mean? Like, not having like big dramatic like finishing moves would be really weird. I don't know if this game would be rated M. I would be down for it because we don't get many rated M fighting games that aren't like Mortal Kombat. It would fit the series, but I don't know how far they would go with it. But even then, I wouldn't even be mad if they didn't go like super far, because, you know, most fighting games, like I said, are rated T. I don't think this company has ever made a rated M game, as far as I know. Hey, it'd be cool. First time for everything, right? Now we're gonna be moving on to the roster, which is probably what the most of you clicked on this video for. I want to just get a few things out of the way first. Obviously, I couldn't include every character, and this roster was kind of hard to make, mainly for the fact that each game has roughly 16 students, like each of the mainline games. So 16 characters is already pretty much enough for like a full fighting game roster, but that's definitely not gonna cut it, because that would be way too few characters, and so many characters would be missing. So I did 25. I think 25 is a perfect amount for like a Danganronpa fighting game. You can get characters from all of the games, while still having room to leave some out here and there. Comparing it to the last game French Bread did, which was Under Night in Birth, that game literally has like 24 characters, I'm pretty sure, at launch. Although, to be fair, that game was like, you know, it had characters from other versions that weren't like DLC and stuff like that, you know what I mean? So it makes more sense, and I don't know if they would make 25 unique and original characters for this game, you know what I mean? They're not based off any previous like sprites that they already have or anything. These would all be brand new. Also, one last thing for real this time. For the sake of argument, let's just say that this game takes place inside of like the Neo World program, meaning like that's the excuse for characters being in the game that normally probably wouldn't fight at all. Like, they actually have powers. Like, let's just, you know, it's a fighting game crossover. It's not canon, so let's just make that up. Especially for some ideas I have with certain characters. Yeah, going on to the roster now. It's pretty self-explanatory. They're highlighted in different colors. Pink means their base roster, meaning as soon as you buy, download, whatever the game, you're gonna have these characters automatically unlocked and playable. Red, which is only one character, is the unlockable final boss character. You would have to beat, let's say, the arcade mode once, at least, on any difficulty to unlock him. Blue is another character that is also just one character. Basically the pre-order bonus character, because usually fighting games have that. Like, one character that, like, is just a pre-order character that you get automatically for pre-ordering, but you could buy this character separately later. But they're not part of like any other DLC pack, they're just separate. And then purple is DLC, meaning obviously you have to spend more money or buy a pass or something to get these characters. And yeah, these are honestly characters that I think would just be like, they're almost considered for like the base game, but they're just, I think, more suited towards being DLC, like extras. Characters are pretty much in order of like the games. We got Trigger Happy Havoc first. We got Makoto and Kyoko. I think these two are like no-brainers. They have have to be in any Danganronpa material. Like, it'd just be weird with them not being in there at all. Like, you gotta have them. It's like the Ryu and Chun-Li of this game, like, basically. Like, you gotta have them. Idea for Makoto specifically, I'm thinking of him, like, having different weapons from, like, the trials. Like, I know that'd be kind of weird, but I feel like that's, like, the only thing I could really think of to make him pretty unique. I mean, I know most people would say he would probably play like a Phoenix Wright type thing, but again, we have like the protagonist, like all of them, spoilers, are in this game. I feel like having like 3 different characters that pretty much play the exact same and a very like niche and specific style of gameplay too would just be kind of weird. So I feel like give him stuff like the clues and stuff from different trials would be like cool as like little weapons and stuff. And like he's not even like good with them. Like I can imagine him just like throwing them at you, like you pick them up off the ground and like throw them and stuff like that. Okay, this one's gonna sound really weird. I think Kyoko, I mean, we haven't seen her fight in the actual like games or anything like that, but she did fend off Junko from Makoto when he was like having a fever and like about to like get killed by her and stuff like that. So yeah, some like basic self-defense training, and I mean she is like part of law enforcement, so I guess they taught her something, you know what I mean? Like imagine her having like a lot of like takedowns and like tackles and stuff like that. I don't know why, this is just what I like get from her. Like this is just seems like this is how she would play. You also have like a lot of like different like counter attacks too. Basically the closest thing I could think of is like Sonya or something from Mortal Kombat. She'd probably have like a stance of some kind. Mukuro is next. I think she would have like 2 modes that she could switch between like mid-match. She'd probably have like the knife mode where like she's like rushdown oriented. And then one that's like a zoning mode, kind of similar to like Chris Redfield from Marvel vs. Capcom, where she's like mainly relying on like guns and grenades and stuff like that. I think this is how she'll play, mainly just because like we've seen mainly in like the anime, she's like pretty skilled in like hand-to-hand combat. I mean, she is the ultimate soldier. It makes sense. Also, a soldier would use guns. I feel like just leaning into one or the other would be kind of like weird. And also, I don't want her to just be purely reliant on just, you know, using like guns and just spamming across the screen and like zoning. I feel like having the option to do both whenever you want would be fun. Okay, Monokuma, this is a character you can do literally whatever with, but I'm imagining sort of like Teddy from Persona 4 Arena and Faust from Guilty Gear, where he's just random and doing random stuff. I don't really imagine him as an items character, but I just imagine him having like a bunch of like wacky ass special moves. I mean, if you play the games, Monokuma is just able to do basically whatever he wants to and pull anything out of anywhere, so I feel like just, you know, he's just a really easy idea for a moveset. Although I do think he would be like fast because he is tiny. He's like a tiny like gremlin. He'd just be super annoying. Like that's his main gimmick, being a little dickhead that you have to deal with. Mondo, now Mondo, I feel like he'd be definitely like a Gordo type character from Under Night, where he just has like this big weapon, being that stop sign that you see in like his render. And he's just gonna like, he's not gonna be fast like at all, but he's gonna smack you with that from like across the map. Like basically, like he's gonna have like half screen normals and stuff like that, but to make up for that, he's gonna be like really slow. He's also gonna have like a few command grabs and stuff to like mix you up. And to juxtapose him being slow, I think his command grabs are gonna be quick. Like they're gonna just happen and you're just gonna have to like react or just die. Like he's gonna do a lot of damage but be really slow. He's gonna have like armor on his moves. Genocide Jack Toko, I think she's gonna have like crazy buttons. Like she's gonna have like really good like offensive pressure. Like she's super rushdown heavy. Think like Sho from Persona 4 Arena, and especially because he has like 2 swords, she's gonna have multiple scissors. She could also have moves where like she like throws the scissors and stuff like that. I feel like honestly she'd probably be one of the characters I'd main the most. Sakura, I mean she has to be her ultimate martial artist in a fighting game. Like she's gonna be like your monk type character, like your Iron Fist slash like Echidna type character, like big body like bruiser character with like martial arts moves and stuff like that. Just look at her. Komaru's gonna be like a zoner. I'm thinking like she literally has like a megaphone gun, and the megaphone gun has different properties. I feel like she's gonna have like weird like debuffs and stuff with the megaphone depending on like which mode she uses. Kind of like how like Star-Lord is gonna have in Marvel Tokon, where you can like swap elements in the element gun. She's gonna be able to swap modes like in the actual game. And again, people are gonna say the gun doesn't work because they're not like mechanical characters like the Monokumas in like the game are. But again, it's a fighting game crossover spinoff, and it's in the Neo World program, so you could just make something up as to why it actually has like effect on them. Hajime, again, similar to Makoto, like he'll use stuff from like the trials, but this is the game that introduces Truth Blade, so I feel like he'd have like a Truth Blade moveset somewhere. I could also imagine a move, maybe like a super or something, where he's on like the little like surfboard or whatever from that one mini game. I also feel like he has to have some sort of super move where like he powers up, especially I'm talking about at the end of the game, like where he gets the white hair and he like, I think it's called like awaken form or something, like, you know, like when he finally like learns the truth about everything. Make it like up his damage and stuff, like basically like your standard install stuff. Nagito, okay, now Nagito, I think he's gonna be like really weird. I feel like you should give him like a hope and despair mode. Like he has two different modes that you can like do mid-match. Or like there's 2 meters, and basically despair mode like makes him more of a rushdown character, but like it lowers his health down like significantly. Like he becomes like a glass cannon, but it increases like his like combo ability and stuff like that. Like just makes him overall like way more aggressive. And then you could have like hope mode, which like raises his defense. It just makes him more of a solid character. Like, and it keeps like, it makes him have like higher health and stuff like that, but like less damage overall. So like more survivability, makes him just, like I said, overall more well-rounded. Or you go despair mode and just like throw away everything, like just for like more damage and stuff like that. I feel like this would just be probably the most interesting thing to do with him because of how like chaotic and weird he is. And especially with like how he could just flip from being like Mr. Hope to like despair in an instant. I feel like this makes sense for him. Okay, now Chiaki, I think this is another funny idea. Bear with me real quick. What if you just gave her like fighting game moves? Like straight up like fighting game moves from other characters. I feel like that'd fit kind of well because she is the ultimate gamer, and this would basically just be like one big video game anyway, and the characters in this can have like special powers and stuff like I said, so why not just say fuck it, like give her like a Shoryuken, give her like a fireball and stuff like that. Basically make her the Shoto. I feel like it'd just be kind of funny. Like you just boot up the game, you're not expecting anything, and then you just see her like doing like fighting game special moves and stuff. Gundam, like he needs to be in this game. Like he's literally just a fighting game character already. He's just like shouting like special move names and stuff already. Like he's such like an over-the-top character. I feel like he'd fit in a fighting game. Like just hearing him like say all types of like random like magic spells and stuff wouldn't even be weird. His voice actor voiced Sigma in MVCI, and it literally sounds like Gundam already. I imagine him being sort of like Strider, like he's like a ninja, like fast-paced, like quick type character, and he could summon different animals. I mean, we literally see in his portrait, he has like a bunch of animals behind him and stuff like that. I feel like he could call them out, and like different animals will do different attacks. I think Peko and Fuyuhiko would be one character that you can swap to mid-match. Basically, Peko excelling at long range because she has like swords, and Fuyuhiko being like the up-close brawler, but you want to use him up close because he's like slow and like, you know, just way more suited to like up close combat. I think this could be an interesting dynamic, and depending on which one you currently are, their super will involve the other one doing something. I feel like this is a unique way to like incorporate both of them, especially because Fuyuhiko on his own isn't really a fighter. Like he's a lot more bark than bite, you know what I mean? Okay, Mikan is kind of like the joke character of the game in my opinion. Like she's basically gonna try to like heal you, but just like end up like hurting you in the long run. That's what I'm imagining. I don't know if you get what I mean. Or sort of like a villager situation from Animal Crossing where like the attacks aren't trying to hurt you, but they just end up hurting anyway. Imagining Ibuki kind of being a zoner a little bit, where she has like sound waves, like she's just playing her music and the sound waves from it are like causing damage and stuff. Also, sort of like Ino from Guilty Gear. I mean, she literally has a guitar and basically does what I just described. Kane is also a no-brainer. Like she's the ultimate gymnast. I imagine her kind of being like similar to Sakura, but just way more like athletic and like agile, but just lacking the damage. Ricci, honestly, this is where I can say this Phoenix Wright from Marvel vs. Capcom 3 inspiration is. Like, he has to find different clues and stuff on the battlefield and then like expose you for your crime, so to speak. And when he catches you, he could like go into a mode and like comes like super powered from it. And you can even make it like the visual difference be he has his hat on before you collect all the evidence, and then his hat comes off when you have all the evidence and you're powered up. Also, please have something to do with the stupid taxi in V3. Like, have him like just run you over. I feel like that'd be really funny. Luigi being the little gremlin he is, I can imagine him having like summons. Like, he could summon all the members from like his organization and they have different things. Sort of like the Ginyu Force from Dragon Ball FighterZ, how like Captain Ginyu can summon the other Ginyu Force members with different like inputs. Kohaku and Hisui. what do I really have to say? They're just Kohaku and Hisui from Melting Blood. Tenko gives me like Jiren from Fighters vibes. Now, I'm saying this mainly just for like the counter-based like mechanic, where like Jiren has like a bunch of different counters for different situations and different attack types. I feel like she would have that too, because like that's basically what Aikido is. It's like very counter-heavy martial arts. Ibo, he'd probably have a lot of projectiles and stuff, obviously. I feel like he could go into like a mode that powers him up, basically from the end of V3. However, if you stay in it too long, it'll like have side effects. Like, you can't use your special moves after a while if like you over rely on it. I mean, robots are no strangers to fighting games, you know what I mean? So Maki, the ultimate assassin, has to be in this fighting game. Like, that's all that really needs to be said about that. Miyu also is like a really fun character to have in this game. Like, she could just make like all sorts of like weird gadgets and gizmos and stuff. Also, if she had like those long stretchy arms that she has like in her portrait, and like she could just grab you from across the screen with them. Izuru is a really weird character, because similar to Monokuma, you could make him do whatever you want, since he basically has every talent. But how I imagine him being like the Akuma of the game, like super low health, but like he's just a rush down like and damage monster. Be like very broken and top tier. Like, I could just imagine it, like he's gonna be at the top of every patch. Yeah, he would be like the final boss that like you have to unlock, like I said earlier. And the one pre-order bonus, Junko, I just think it'd be really funny like in her character to make you have to like pay extra just to play as her. So I feel like enough people would pre-order the game just to play as her. And next we got the DLC character, and I'm gonna kind of like rush through it a little bit just for the sake of time, because this video is getting way longer than I thought it was gonna be. Tsumugi, I mean, she's the mastermind of V3 and the ultimate cosplayer, so I can imagine her having like a weird Shang Tsung gimmick where she could like turn into other characters. Or if not that, like she can have like moves from a bunch of different characters. Like Seth from Street Fighter or Double from Skullgirls, how they like can like turn into and like steal a lot of moves from different characters. This is kind of a wild card pick. Juzo from the Danganronpa 3 anime, aka like the former Ultimate Boxer. I mean, he's a boxer, it kind of makes sense. There's a lot of boxer-like characters in fighting games. But I think it wouldn't have been enough room just to put him in. And I think he's the only real character from the like 3 anime I could actually put in, to be honest with you. Aside from like Munakata himself, but as you're about to see, there's other characters that I think could probably replace him. Gonta, I was gonna put him in V3, but I just didn't have enough room, but we need more big bodies, so he's probably gonna be the obligatory like grappler of the game. You know, he's a gentleman, he probably wouldn't hurt anybody, but still. I think Sonya would also be a character people would want in the game, because she is really popular, but again, I just didn't have enough room. But I feel like she would have like sort of something like Parasol from Skullgirls, where like she summons a bunch of like guards and stuff like that, because she is a princess after all, so I feel like that makes sense. Kiyotaka, specifically when he's like in his little like Super Saiyan form or whatever after Mondo dies. I mean, this was very short-lived in the actual game, but it's really cool, and especially his render. I can imagine him using like Mondo's ghost as like a stand sort of, and being able to like pilot it, basically being like a sort of puppet character. Now finally moving on to the last two, these are purely just like because I wanted to, and I think more people need to play these games. They're by Kodaka anyway, so. There's a guy, Yuma from Rain Code, and he'd be like a sword fighter in this game. Also, Shinigami would be with him. I feel like he'd be more of like a keep-away zoner, especially because if you've played the games, the little like trial sections of the game, you can like dodge and like weave attacks basically, and you have to like cut through people's like words. So basically, it's more like dodge focused. I can imagine that, like he's like way quicker and agile. He has like a lot of like evasive moves. The final character, Takumi from 100 Line. I feel like this is probably also a no-brainer, and you want to advertise like the newest game. 100 Line's really good, and he has a full moveset. He's a sword fighter. It's very similar, honestly, to what they've made before with Hyde from Under Night. Like, he's basically just Hyde from Under Night, but in an RPG instead. And yeah, that's basically gonna be it for a Danganronpa fighting game video. Basically of what I just want from this, if this was to ever even be a thing. And hey, who knows, maybe that 15th anniversary announcement or whatever that happens in November is gonna be like this, but it's probably not. I just wanted to make this for fun, but yeah, let me know what you would want to see, and see ya.
You could have left me here, still inside the blood. No one would ever know the chaos control. My true identity, the power